If you're looking to create a fun and exciting universe mode in WWE 2K25, then here are 50 custom storylines for you to quickly plug and play right now. Let's hop into it. Our first storyline will take place in the main event scene for the men or the women competing for the WWE or the World titles. It will feature 3 superstars. We'll label them Superstar A, B, and C. Superstar B will either be a face or a heel, and he's going to start off by cutting a promo on Superstar A, who is your champion and can also be a face or a heel. Superstar B is cutting this promo as he feels he or she should be the next title contender to face Superstar A. Later that night, however, Superstar C, who is a heel, will attack your champion backstage. The following week, Superstar C will come out for a promo discussing how they want Superstar's A title, but then Superstar B will come out to confront them, saying they should be up next. This will lead Superstar C to end up attacking Superstar B. Later that night, Superstar B will come backstage looking for revenge on Superstar C with another brawl. In week 3, Superstars B and C will have a #1 contenders match, but it ends in a DQ as Superstar A looks for that revenge on Superstar C from 2 weeks prior, as Superstar A will attack Superstar C in that match. With our PLE 1 week away, last week's DQ is now made a triple threat match, and now backstage brawl breaks out as all 3 competitors start going at it, heading into the PLE, where they'll finally fight for that world title. Our second feud will also be in the main event picture of the men's women's division as they look for the WWE or world titles. In the first week of the build, you'll have a face superstar win a #1 contenders match for a world title, but then the heel champion will come out and attack him or her after the match. The following week, that face #1 contender will come out and have a match against an ally or someone within a faction of that heel champion. Your face contender will end up getting the win, but attacked after the match by the heel champion. For the third week of the storyline, there'll be a tag match with your face contender teaming up with an ally to take on the heel champion and one of their allies. In the end, your face contender will end up getting the pin on your heel champion, setting up the final week before the PLE, where your heel champion will cut a promo on your face contender, and a brawl will ensue, heading to their PLE title match. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out all my other Universe Mode content. Our third storyline will take place as a heel feels to have been passed up time and time again and are really looking for a title, whether it's in the main event scene or in the mid-card. It starts in week 1 as your heel superstar will randomly attack another superstar backstage, as it leaves the fans confused about what their motive is for this attack. Then the following week backstage, they'll attack a second superstar. They decide to cut a promo later that night as well, as they come out and he or she will talk about how they've been passed up over a long period of time and enough is enough. And now he or she will make an opportunity for himself if the GM doesn't want to give them one. Now in week 3, this heel contender will now attack one of your face champions backstage. And once again, they'll later come out for a promo telling that face champion that he or she is coming for their title at the next PLE. And finally, a week before the PLE comes, that a beloved face or ally of that face champion will take on your heel contender. Your face champion will attempt to distract the heel and help the beloved face or their ally get the win. In the end, the match will end as a DQ, as your heel will attack the beloved face or ally, hitting their opponent with a chair to end the match. Then at your PLE, you'll finally get that face champion versus heel contender. Our fourth storyline will take place heading into a mid-card rivalry in the men's or women's division. In the first week, you'll have 4 superstars all vying for a title. They'll compete in a tournament. 2 winners will happen on 2 different matches in week 1. Then the following week, those winners will take on each other to see who takes on the mid-card champion at the next PLE. As we enter week 3 of this storyline, this is where it really takes shape. The winner of the tournament, who should be a face, will come out for a promo with a face champion. Both will show respect to each other. Since they're both faces, we don't see any scuffle, no real issues, just showing praise to each other ahead of their match. Now, a week before the PLE, they both come out for a promo once again, but this time it seems a little bit of tension is building during the promo, as each feel very strongly that they will come away with the title and deserve it as well. But no physical confrontation happens. At the PLE, the match goes on as planned, and a winner and a loser occurs. But it doesn't end here. The week after the PLE, the loser attacks the winner backstage, causing a massive heel turn that no one saw coming. This 5th storyline does not involve a title, and it doesn't involve a PLE, as it plans on ending with a huge match at a go-home show before a PLE to make your final Raw or SmackDown very exciting. For this storyline, you'll have a face and a heel, and in the first week, these face and heel will face off in a match where face will end up getting the win. But later that night, the heel will attack the face backstage. The following week, the face will come out and call out that heel in a promo. And right after that heel will come out and they'll have a match right then and there on the spot. This time, the heel gets the win to even the series up at 1 win apiece. The following week, the heel will come out as he or she calls out the face in a promo, and instead of a match, it leads to a brawl as the heel attacks the face. And finally, in your go-home show before your next PLE, the face and the heel will face off in a street fight to end the rivalry with a bang. Our 6th storyline will also be a non-title match and not occur at a PLE, but it will be used specifically for the mid-card and the men's or women's divisions to help give some of those mid-carders who aren't in the title picture right now a good storyline to excel them back into the title picture. So in week 1, you'll have a heel come out and cut a promo on a face who just lost their mid-card title. And this heel will say that they weren't championship material and shouldn't have had that title in the first place. In the following week, this heel will once again come out for a promo, but this time the face champion, or the face who just lost their championship, will come out to interrupt them, and after the heel breaks them saying they aren't worthy of being in their presence, they'll walk out on your face. Later that night though, the face looks to get some momentum, so he or she takes on one of your heel's allies and gets the win. The following week, after the face's win, the heel and their ally then attack your face backstage, beating them down. This sets up your final match before the PLE, as the superstars face and heel will take each other on, but the ally does attempt to help the heel though. And this is where the rivalry comes to a close at the go-home show. Storyline number 7 will take us back to the main event scene. This can work for either the men or the women's divisions, but it makes the most sense for the women's and how the tag scene is laid out. This storyline will start with a tag match of the tag team champions who are currently heels taking on a tag team that includes a face world champion. In this match, one of the heel tag champs will pin the face champion to end that first match. The following week, the heel tag champ who got the pin over the singles champ will come out for a promo, and she says that she deserves the title match after pinning the singles champion the prior week. Later that night, that face singles champion will come out and beat that heel's tag team partner in a singles match. That causes during the following week the heel tag team champions to come out and attack your face world champion. The following week during the go home show, your face champion will call out the heel tag team champion that pinned her a few weeks prior, and they'll have a brawl in the ring ahead of their title match. And at your PLE, these two superstars will go at it as the heel attempts to become a double champion. Our 8th storyline will take a look at a couple of contenders vying for a world title, but it won't end with them in a world title match. Instead, it starts at Money in the Bank in the Money in the Bank match for either the men or the women. One superstar should be a heel, and the other can either be a face or a heel. Both of them will compete in the Money in the Bank match, but they both end up losing. During the following week on Raw or SmackDown, the heel will come out and attack the face backstage. In the second week of the storyline, your heel will come out and cut a promo saying that the face or heel cost them their chance at Money in the Bank. Later that night, that either face or heel will come out to try and distract the heel superstar during their match. The following week, that original heel will call out the other superstar who's either a face or a heel for a promo, and they end up brawling in the ring. And this sets up your go-home show match of two superstars fighting out, with the winner being put in the driver's seat for a world title opportunity. Our 9th storyline takes a look at a heel turn over an ally. So at a show on your card, you can decide when, whether it's on a Raw or SmackDown or a PLE, a superstar will turn heel on their ally and injuring them. Then after any amount of months, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever floats your boat, that superstar who was injured, that face, will now make their return. Now 2 weeks before a PLE, that face will return from injury, and he or she will attack the heel during their match, causing a DQ. The next week at the Go Home show, that returning face will call out the heel for a promo, and it will end up setting up a Hell in a Cell match, and they end the night brawling. And at the PLE, we'll see that Hell in a Cell match as the friends turned enemies end their rivalry. Our final storyline will take place between tag teams for this one. A heel tag team will either win a tag gauntlet match or a fatal 4-way tag match to secure a spot to take on a face tag team champions. The following week, the tag team contenders will attack the face champions backstage. This does not go over well with management, as the following week, the heel tag team contenders will be forced to take on a different tag team who wasn't in the original Gauntlet or number 1 contenders match to be able to keep their number 1 contender status. In the end, the heels get the win to continue to take on the champions at the next PLE. At the Go Home show, however, a promo between the two tag teams will take place, but it leads to a brawl. And then finally, we reach our PLE, where the tag team champs will take on the heels to try and retain their tag titles. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out all my other Universe Mode content. Our first storyline will be over a world title in the men's or women's division. In the first week of the storyline, a heel champion who is a faction leader will come out for a promo, and they'll end up talking down on their brand's roster during their long and successful title reign. But a top face will then come out to confront him or her, looking to put to an end of their reign and challenging him or her for their title. The heel champion laughs and walks out on the face, declining their challenge. The following week, your face contender will look to earn a title match from the GM if the heel champion wouldn't give them one. He or she would take on another superstar in a match, and the face would get the win. But after the match, the heel champ would come out and attack the face contender. Then the following week, the heel champ, clearly still threatened by the face contender, would send his or her faction after the face contender backstage to continue a string of attacks, hoping to take out the face contender and take them out of contention for their title. Then at the Go Home show for the PLE, the GM comes out for a promo, where he or she will announce a match for the title between the heel and the face at the PLE. The heel champ comes out quickly, and they try to stop the GM from making this match official, but the GM walks out on the heel champ as the match will happen at the PLE. The PLE comes, the face contender would take on the heel for their title in a singles match, but during the match, the heel champion's faction member or manager would intervene and hit the face with a chair shot after the ref took a bump, giving the heel a huge chance to retain their title. But no matter who ends up winning this match, the rivalry would continue into the following month, as the week after this PLE, the face would come out for a promo, and they would call out the heel for their faction member or manager hitting them with a chair shot during the title match, taking the cowardly way out, and that they would need to respond. But the heel would not come out and respond. So the following week, the heel champ and one of their faction members would once again attack the face backstage as a direct response for being called out, as they just didn't like it. Then, the following week after that, the face was done being the victim. In the following week, he or she would attack one of the heel faction members during their match, making a clear statement that this war with the heel is not over. Then a week before your final PLE of this rivalry, the face and heel would meet in the ring for a promo, where they would decide on a title rematch. The heel has a surprise though for the face, in that this match won't just be a normal singles match like last time, it will be a last man standing match and anything goes. The face though has a counter surprise of their own, in that they talked to the GM earlier, and the GM told him or her that any involvement by any faction member or ally of either side would result in a DQ and title be given to their opponent. The heel was shocked and angered as the face walked out of the Go Home show with a smile on their face, and at the PLE, the face and heel would go for one final match and a last man standing match for the title. Our second feud will decide a number 1 contender and have a match for a singles title at a PLE. During the first week of this rivalry, a face contender would come out for a promo after having success in recent months. He or she will say that they respect the champ, but they deserve a shot at their championship. A face champ would come out and challenge him to a match next week for their title. In the following week, in the main event of your weekly show, the face champ and the face contender would face off for the title, but a heel contender would attack both stars, causing a DQ finish and no winner. And the week after, the heel contender would come out for their own promo, saying that the face never should have had a chance at the title over them. The face contender would then come out to confront them and challenge them for a number 1 contenders match the following week. The heel would accept, but then attack the face. Then at your Go Home show, the face and the heel would meet in the main event with a heated match to become the number 1 contender. As the face would take control of the match, the heel would get frustrated and proceed to seemingly leave the ring and presumably the match. The face, though, would go after him or her, but it was a trick all along, as the heel would turn around and attack the face to get the upper hand. The winner of the match would go on to be the number 1 contender, but does the story end here? If the face overcomes the heel and wins the number 1 contendership, will the heel take the loss and move on, or will he or she get involved in the championship match of the PLE? If If the heel wins, does the face look to even with the heel after the PLE? That's for you to decide. Our third feud will take place forming a new faction. In your first week, a heel title contender would come out for a promo stating that they are done playing games and everyone in the locker room is now a target. A beloved face would come out to interrupt the heel, saying their bully tactics aren't going to fly around here, but if you want a target so bad, then how about you beat me in the ring later tonight? And the heel world title contender would accept the challenge. The heel and face meet off for a match, but during the match, the music of a mid-card level superstar hits, drawing away the attention of the face. That superstar enters the ring from behind and lays out the face while the ref isn't looking, ultimately helping the world title heel get the win and creating some sort of new partnership, leaving the fans wanting to know why. The following week, the world title contending heel would come out for a promo, saying last week was only the start of something big that's brewing in the WWE, and everyone else should take it as a lesson to stay away. The beloved face would once again come out to interrupt the heel, saying how cowardly they are, needing backup since they couldn't win the match alone. The heel would then respond by laughing and saying, "I guess you didn't learn your lesson," before walking out. And later that night, backstage, the beloved face would this time be attacked by a tag team, raising questions about how deep this new faction seems to go and what their plans are. Then the following week, the beloved face would come out for their own promo after being attacked once again, calling out the heel, stating if that's how he or she wants to play, then they should be ready for retaliation. And then later that night, the beloved face and an ally would attack the heel tag team that had attacked them the prior week as an act of revenge. At the go-home show the following week, the heel would come out for a promo and call out the face. The face would quickly come out mocking the heel after last week's attack. The heel wasn't having any of it though and tells the face to find 2 more superstars before Saturday because at the PLE it'll be a 4v4 tag match. The face accepts and the two brawl in the ring, heading into the PLE of the new faction against the face and his allies. Our fourth feud is a story of a returning face star who comes back from injury. This face returns from injury and is scheduled for a match after the recent PLE. In this match, they end up getting a win over another face, but after the match, a heel comes out looking to attack the loser. The returning face jumps back into the ring and would save the loser of the match from the heel's attack. And the following week, the heel would look for revenge on the face by attacking him or her backstage, letting them know that they wouldn't get away with getting in their business in the prior week. But later that night, the returning face would come out for a promo where he or she would go all in on the heel, saying that the heel better get out here so they could finish what was started. The heel would come out and say that the GM actually told him or her they would have a match next week, so there isn't any reason to fight now, especially if they don't want to end up injured again. The face, clearly angry, doesn't care, and they end up brawling in the ring to close the show. The following week would come as the face would come out for their match, but shockingly the heel would come out and announce a replacement for the match, as the returning face would take on an ally of the heel instead. Even though the face was thrown off by this change, they would still end up getting the win. At the go-home show the following week, the GM would announce that the returning face would take on the heel at the PLE since the heel chickened out of their match last week, but also, later that night, a tag match would take place between the returning face and the superstar that he had beaten originally a few weeks ago, versus the heel and his or her ally from the prior week. And in that tag match, the faces versus heels, whichever side wins would end up getting the last laugh heading into the match of the PLE, where the returning face would take on the heel. Our fifth rivalry will lead up to Survivor Series and end in a War Games match. As in the first week, 2 world title contenders, a face and a heel, who are both not champions but have a past rivalry, will both look to earn a title shot at WrestleMania, but they'll now butt heads as the face would come out for a promo discussing their road to WrestleMania. It's upon us and they're looking for a test beforehand. But out comes their former heel rival, as they state that the face should only be looking towards the Rumble, as the only way they get a title match at WrestleMania is getting lucky by throwing someone over the top rope. The face laughs and says that they guessed that pinning the heel a handful of times beforehand wasn't much to be proud of then. The heel, upset by that remark, starts brawling with the face. Then the following week, a mid-card heel who hasn't had much luck winning a mid-card title would come out for a promo, calling out a mid-card champion who could either be a face or a heel, and that mid-card champ would not come out to respond. The heel, growing frustrated, says that if the champ won't come out here and acknowledge him or her, then the consequences are coming, before storming out of the ring. And later that night, both the mid-card heel and the world title contending heel would attack the mid-card champ backstage, forming an alliance that felt completely out of nowhere. Then the following week, the mid-card title holder comes out for a promo, calling out the heels for the attack last week, but he or she's interrupted by a heel tag team saying that no one wants to hear their complaining, and if they want to handle their business, they should go do it backstage, rather than eat up time that is supposed to be meant for their tag team title match that night. And with that, the Midcard champ says they're right, and they make their way backstage. The heel tag team would then take on the tag team champs for the tag team titles, but they would ultimately fall short. Right after the tag team title match backstage, the Midcard champ and the heel Midcard Contender brawled. The following week at the Go Home show, it opened with the heel tag team attacking the tag team champs after their loss last week. Then later that night, a tag team match between the world title and Midcard title contender and heels would take on the face world title contender and the Midcard champion. This match would go down to the wire, but ultimately the Midcard heel would attack the Midcard champ with a chair shot, causing a DQ out of frustration. After all the chaos, the GM would come out to end the show, announcing that at Survivor Series, the heel world title contender, Midcard contender, and tag team contenders would take on the face world title contender, the Midcard champion, and the tag team champs at War Games, since all they wanted to do was cause chaos. And then at Survivor Series, they'd face off in the War Games match. And those are the 5 storylines. Our first storyline would be a crazy world title rivalry, finding a #1 contender for your next PLE. In the first week of the storyline, a younger Midcard heel with a bit of an ego would come out for a promo saying that he or she should be contending for the world title. This leads the GM to come out and say that if he or she can win a triple threat #1 contenders match that night, then they'll face the champ at the PLE for the world title. Later that night, during the match, the young heel doesn't get the win, but also he or she doesn't get pinned in this match. So in the following week, they're angry about not becoming the #1 contender, so the heel would then attack the #1 contender backstage at the start of the show. But later that night, the #1 contender would then come out clearly angry about the attack, and they would challenge the heel to a match the following week. The heel would not come out to respond, but it doesn't matter as the GM would implement that match for next week's card. The next week would come, the #1 contender would come out for the match, but shockingly the heel takes the cowardly way out by pretending to be hurt so that they can use an ally as a replacement to get out of being in the match. The #1 contender would end up getting the win against their replacement opponent, but the rivalry is still not over yet. The week before the PLE comes, as the #1 contender would once again come out angry, wanting revenge on the young heel. To make sure a match would happen between the two, he or she would raise the stakes, saying that if the heel would beat the #1 contender, they can take their place in the world title match at the next PLE. The heel would then come out and accept the challenge, but then would attack the #1 contender ahead of their match later that night. And then later the match would occur as the two superstars would come out for their match. During the match, the #1 contender looked like they were close to be putting away the heel challenger, but then out of nowhere, the heel's ally would help stop a pin, allowing the match to continue. This would throw off the #1 contender, allowing for the heel to have one last chance at stealing the win to become the new #1 contender at the PLE. How this match finishes is up to you to decide who faces your current world champion at this upcoming PLE. Our second storyline is a battle between the heel faction and top stars. In the first week in the main event of your show, a #1 contenders match for a world title is set to take place, as a heel faction leader will take on a top face in this match. During the match, a member of the heel's faction will toss in a steel chair after the ref takes a bump, allowing the heel to take advantage of the situation and end up getting the win in this match and becoming the new #1 contender for the world title. Then the following week, the face would come out for a promo, calling out the heel after using the chair assist to cheat and get the win to become the #1 contender. The heel would then come out to respond to the face, saying that they're just smarter and always one step ahead, leading into an attack on the face and brawling in the ring. Later that night, the face would take on the faction member who threw that chair into the ring in the week prior in the #1 contenders match. Right before the match is set to begin though, another face superstar with prior history with that heel faction leader makes a surprising appearance as they join the face star and sit in their corner to manage their match, which ends up helping the face get the win against the heel faction member. The following week, after the new face entering this little rivalry who came out to aid the face star, the heel faction member would then attack this face backstage at the start of the show, looking for revenge after the loss last week. This attack would lead to a match between the new face and the heel faction member that lost last week. The heel faction leader would help out his or her faction member by distracting the face and costing him or her the match and gaining momentum for their faction. A week out from the upcoming PLE at the Go Home show, the heel faction leader would then come out for a promo where he or she would challenge the face stars to a tag match against his or her faction members. One of the faces would come out and accept the challenge on both of their behalves, and then the two stars would brawl to end the night, heading into their big tag team match at the upcoming PLE. Our third storyline will cause some chaos with a Money in the Bank cash-in to end it off. In the first week, a couple of months after winning the briefcase at Money in the Bank, the heel Money in the Bank winner would come out for a promo saying that he or she has noticed that their brand's champion has been letting their guard down lately and it might be time to make their moment with a cash-in in the coming weeks. The champ would then come out to respond saying whatever game that they're trying to play isn't going to work and they'll continue to be the world champion. The Money in the Bank holder then laugh and walk off, clearly getting underneath the skin of the champion. The following week, a number 1 contenders match would occur to decide who the champion would then face at the upcoming PLE. After the match, the Money in the Bank holder would decide to attack the new number 1 contender backstage to make a statement and show what will happen to them if they end up becoming the new champion after the PLE. The following week, the number 1 contender will then come out for a promo calling out the Money in the Bank holder for their attack the prior week. The Money in the Bank holder will then come out and tell them that they should watch their back just like the champion before attacking the number 1 contender once again. The week before the PLE would come and the champion would have a tune-up match against an ally of the number 1 contender. The champion would end up getting the win, but after the match, the Money in the Bank holder would look to cash in on the champion, but the champ was ready for it and stopped the cash in before the ref had a chance to even ring the bell, as the Money in the Bank holder would run off and live to fight another day. At the PLE, the champion was definitely flustered as the cash-in could come at any moment once again, but they would end up retaining their title with a big win over the number 1 contender. But once again, the Money in the Bank holder would come out and attempt to cash in, but this time, it was the number 1 contender who had just lost the match that would help make the save for the champion this time by getting in the way of the Money in the Bank holder to stop the cash-in. The week after the PLE, the Money in the Bank holder would come out angry for a promo after another failed cash-in. They would call out the former number 1 contender for getting in their way. That former number 1 contender would come out and say that their title push isn't over, and the Money in the Bank holder should take their briefcase and run away to the other brand because they were not going to get their hands on that championship and take it off the champion. The Money in the Bank holder would angrily walk out on the former contender. The following week, the former number 1 contender would shockingly attack the champion backstage, but they did make it clear last week that they were still chasing the title, so this attack did seem to make some sense to the fans. After the prior week's attack from the number 1 contender, the champion would want to prove their point by defeating him or her again, so they would face off in the main event for the world title. The champion would once again retain their title against the number 1 contender, but also once again, the Money in the Bank holder would come up to attack and cash in on the champion. The champ wasn't ready for it again, and this time he or she did not have help, which led the Money in the Bank holder to winning the title in their cash-in. The following week at the go-home show for the next PLE, the now former champ would come out for a promo calling out the new champ and invoking their championship rematch clause for this upcoming PLE. The new champ would come out angry about having to face the former champion again, but he or she would quickly attack the former champ as they would brawl heading into the PLE, where they would face off for the world title once again. Our next storyline takes place over the chaos of the Midcard division. In the first week, a Midcard heel champion would come out for a promo where he or she says that there's no competition worthy of facing them for the title. The GM would then come out though to interrupt the Midcard champion and say that there's plenty of competition, that he or she would actually had planned for a tournament to decide their next opponent for the upcoming PLE. The next week, a face and a heel contender would face off to go after the number 1 contendership in this tournament. The face would end up getting the win, but shortly after the match, the heel Midcard champ would then attack the face challenger backstage to try and show their dominance. Then the following week, the next round of the tournament would ensue as another face and heel contender would face off for the number 1 contendership. The face would end up getting the win, but right after the match, the heel champion would attack the face winner right there in the ring to once again show their dominance. The following week, at the go-home show, the championship of the tournament would occur as both faces would face off, but they would show respect to each other as the match began. Ultimately, only one of the faces could end up getting the win to secure their spot as the number 1 contender, but once again, the winner would be attacked by the heel champion. Then at the PLE, something shocking would happen. As during the match, during the Midcard title fight, as the face loser of the tournament would come out shockingly and distract and attack the face challenger during the match as they turn heel out of anger for the face challenger while trying to help the heel champion retain their title even though they were attacked by them just a few weeks ago. But this would set up a new Midcard rivalry post-PLE. Our final storyline takes place with some tag team chaos. In our first week of the rivalry, after the latest WWE draft, there was a huge shakeup in the tag teams on each brand, leaving many new challengers for your tag team champs. A heel tag team, we'll call them Tag Team A, would come out for a promo trying to make their case for a championship match, but another heel tag team, we'll call them Tag Team B, would come out to interrupt them, saying that they aren't on their level and they should get a tag team championship match. This led heel team A to attack heel team B. The following week, a tag team championship match would occur, but instead of either of the heel tag teams being involved, it was a face tag team taking on the champs. Heel tag team A didn't like this, and they would attack the face tag team challengers when they made their entrance for the tag team championship match, and it would end up costing them the match as the face challengers would lose. And the following week, the face tag team challengers who lost would come out for a promo the following week, saying that their cheap loss was unfair and they deserved another shot at the tag team titles after being screwed over. The GM would come out and say even though it was unfair that they got attacked before their match, they still lost the match on their own. However, he or she would give them another opportunity. They would have to win a 3-team tag match against the heel tag team contenders. The next week at the Go Home show before the PLE, the face tag team contenders would take on the other 2 tag teams, with the winner becoming the #1 contender for the tag team titles, and they would take on the tag team champs at the upcoming PLE. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out all my other Universe Mode content. Our first storyline has some world title chaos. At your current PLE, a face champion will win their world title match, but right after their win, a longtime rival would come out and attack that face champion in the ring to close the show. Then the following week, your face world champion would come out for a promo, thanking the fans for willing him or her to their title win, but also wanting to come out and call out their longtime rival for their attack. The heel rival would then come out to respond, saying that ever since their last meeting, the face gets opportunity after opportunity, while he or she gets nothing, so it's time to add another chapter to their rivalry. The face champ walks out on the rival though, after not giving them a title match. The following week, the next week opens with the heel rival attacking the face champion backstage to make a statement and make it clear that they want a title match. Later that night, the face champion would come out for another promo, calling out their heel rival once again, saying if they want a title match so bad, then they must defeat the superstar that the face beat at the last PLE. The heel rival doesn't come out to respond, but the deal is in place. So in the following week, the heel rival would take on the PLE world title loser in the main event to see if that heel rival can earn a shot at the world title. The heel rival would end up getting the win to secure a world title shot against their former rival. And at the Go Home show the following week before the PLE, the heel rival would come out, call out the face champ in a promo, saying that after all these years and matches between the two, just a regular championship match shouldn't happen at the PLE. If they're going to add another chapter to their story, it must be in Hell in a Cell. The face champ comes out and agrees to the stipulation, and the 2 rivals would brawl to end the show ahead of their world title match at the PLE. Our second storyline is also in the world title division for the men or the women, with a bit of a shakeup. In the first week, coming off a huge championship win, your new face world champion comes out for a promo now that he or she has finally won the world title. The new face champ is quickly interrupted though by a heel contender who tells them that their celebration is over and it's time to defend their title. The face champ laughs and tells the heel contender that he or she needs to earn a shot at the title and walks out. The next week, the heel contender is in the main event against another challenger, hoping to become the new #1 contender for the world title. During the match, the referee takes a bump, allowing an ally or faction member of the heel contender to throw a chair into the ring and helping the heel contender steal the win. Later that night, the heel contender would attack the face champ backstage, mockingly asking the champ if they've proven themselves yet. The following week, the new face champ comes out for a promo where they call out the heel contender. The heel contender would swiftly come out to meet the face champ in the ring, where they agree on a match at the upcoming PLE, but quickly enough, the heel contender would attack the face champ once again. Home show before the PLE, the face champ looks for revenge by attacking the heel contender backstage after the last 2 weeks of attacks. After all this chaos and weeks of attacks, both superstars would be sent home for the night, and at the PLE, the 2 superstars would come into the ring to meet for the title, but just like the #1 Contenders match, an ally or faction member of the heel contender would throw a chair into the ring to help the heel contender steal the win and the world title from the face. After their world title loss, the face would then come out the following week and call out the heel once again. The heel would come out smugly after their world championship win and proclaim themselves as the best in the world. The face and the heel would then end the promo brawling in the ring. The following week, the face would come out for another promo challenging the heel to a rematch for their title. The heel would laugh and say if they have to prove themselves to get a title match against the face, then the face would have to do the same, and he or she walked out on the face. The next week, the face would take on another contender, hoping to get a shot at the title. The face would end up getting the win to secure a rematch with the heel at the upcoming PLE. At the go-home show before the PLE though, the face would come out for a promo, saying that if the heel is really the best in the world as they proclaim, then instead of using help to retain the world title, they should meet in a steel cage. The heel, clearly flustered and angry, would then come out to respond by saying the challenger doesn't get to make the stipulation or the rules for the match. The face would then laugh and tell the heel that the GM actually made it official earlier and that he or she will see the heel in the cage before walking out and heading into their match at the PLE. Our third storyline is a battle over a mid-card title. In the first week, a battle royal would occur to decide the new #1 contender for the mid-card title. An unlikely face gets the upset win in the battle royal to challenge the heel mid-card champ. In the following week, the heel mid-card champ would come out for a promo, laughing at the idea of the unlikely face being their next opponent. The face challenger would then come out to confront your heel mid-card champion, and only after getting a couple seconds in to defend themselves, the heel mid-card champ would then attack your face challenger to show their dominance. The next week, the face challenger would take on a random heel mid-carder as they would look to prove themselves and show the battle royal win wasn't a fluke, but rather the rise of a new star. The unlikely face would end up picking up a huge win by upsetting the random heel mid-carder, but the heel mid-card champ doesn't care about the face's win and would come out to the stage to disrespect them after their win and try to humiliate them. In the following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel mid-card champ would come out for a promo where they would continue to laugh at the face challenger and call them out, saying they aren't worthy of the title match still. Once again, the unlikely face challenger would come out, but rather than try to defend themselves this time with a promo back, they would attack the heel mid-card champ as they brawl heading into the PLE, where the mid-card title would be on the line. Our fourth storyline is a battle in the tag team division. In the first week, a heel tag team that is part of a faction would ambush and attack the tag team champs backstage, making it clear they're coming for their titles. Then the following week, the tag team champs would come out for a promo, calling out the heel tag team for their attack the prior week. The heel tag team would then come out to respond, telling them that the attacks won't stop until they get a shot at the tag team championships. The tag team champs would then laugh and say that they will need to earn a chance as they walk out on the heel tag team. Then the next week, the heel tag team would then take on a face tag team in a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles. The heels will then go on to win this tag team match, setting up a match at the PLE for the tag team titles. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel tag team contenders and another member of their faction would take on the tag team champs and one of their allies in a 3v3 tag match. The winning side of this match would then get the upper hand going into the PLE where they'd face off for the tag team titles. Our fifth storyline is another mid-card championship battle. In the first week, your heel mid-card champ comes out for a promo, gloating about how easy their recent title defense was, but a beloved face would then come out to interrupt them and tells them that there's a lot more hungry challengers like him or herself waiting to take that title off of the champ. The champ laughs and walks out, clearly not taking this face seriously. The next week, the GM schedules a non-title match between the two superstars, giving the face an opportunity to prove him or herself as a true contender. The heel champ and the face contender would come out for their match, and the face contender would shock the heel champ and pick up the win. The following week, the heel mid-card champ would then attack the face contender backstage as they are clearly angered and embarrassed by their loss to the face the prior week. Later that night, the face would then come out for a promo where they would call out the heel champ for the attack, but the heel mid-card champ was too much of a coward to come out and respond. So the following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel mid-card champion would then come out for a promo saying the face got lucky and they aren't on his or her level. The face contender would come out to respond and say that if they don't think he or she is up to the champ's level, then how about a 2 out of 3 falls match at the PLE to decide the title where a clear winner is made and not a lucky fluke pin. They would agree, and the match for this was set for the upcoming PLE as a 2 out of 3 falls match for your mid-card title. Our first storyline will take place in the world title scene for either the men or the women. At your most recent PLE, a superstar, we'll call him Superstar A, who is your face champion, they'll win a brutal title defense at the PLE. But right after the match, a surprise return of a heel comes out and attacks your face champion, making it clear that they are coming for the title. The following week after the PLE, That heel will come out for a promo, and he or she will talk about how she's tired of being overlooked, and he or she wants to take what is theirs. Then your face champion will come out to confront this superstar, but the heel will once again attack your champion. Then the following week, your face champion will come out for a promo of himself, but this time they're interrupted by a different superstar who says that the heel isn't the only person that they should be worried about if they want to keep their title. And this leads to a match between the two right there on the spot, with your face champion getting the win. But after the match, once again the heel comes to attack the face backstage, but also with the help of your champion's last opponent who they just beaten. This sets up the next week a tag match. Your face champion will call upon an ally to take on the heel that attacked the champion at the PLE, along with the superstar that the champion just beat the prior week. Then the following week at your go home show, your heel will come out for a promo calling out your face champion for a title match at the PLE, where your champion will accept. But once again, the heel will attack your champion, heading to the title fight, where the rivalry storyline comes to an end with their title match at the PLE. Our second storyline will also be in the world title scene for either the men or the women. The week after a PLE, the leader of a heel faction will come out for a tournament match to become the #1 contender for a world title. He or she will get the help from their faction during the match to help them win to move on to the championship round. The following week, in the main event, they'll compete for that #1 contender spot in the championship round of this tournament, where he or she will once again get help from his or her faction, win the match, and become the new #1 contender for the world title. And in the next week, the loser of that #1 contenders championship match, who's a face, will come out for a promo. They'll call out the heel for cheating with his or her faction. That heel faction leader will then come out to interrupt them, but he or she would waste little time talking and quickly get to attacking the face to rub in their win just a little bit more. But while this was happening, backstage, the rest of the heel faction was attacking the world champion, giving that champion a taste of what it is to come in this rivalry. And the following week at the go home show, the face champion calls out the heel faction member to a tag match of the face champion with his or her new ally who lost in the #1 contenders match, take on the heel faction leader and one of their other faction members. The heel faction leader comes out, accepts the challenge before attacking the face. And later that night in the main event, the tag match would occur, with the winning side getting the upper hand going into the world title match, the PLE. And at this PLE, the face champion would take on the heel faction member, but once again, the heel faction member had the numbers advantage. So will the face be able to retain? For our next storyline, we'll head over to the mid-card division for either the men or the women. In your first week, a superstar who is a heel champion will brag in a promo about them being unbeatable during a long reign, but an underdog who is a face will come out and interrupt and challenge him or her. The heel champion will laugh at him or her, saying that they've done nothing to deserve a match and they honestly will never earn one, and they'll walk out. Then the following week, the underdog will once again come out, this time for their own promo, stating their case, talking about their uphill battle, everything they've faced and had to go through to make it in the WWE. But all that adversity doesn't matter to the heel champion, as that heel champion will come out, laugh at them once again, but this time attack the face. Then the very next week, the face will have a match against another mid-carder, and they get the win in a somewhat unexpected result. The heel champion comes out to the stage after the match and jokingly shows them respect, but we all know he or she is just playing with the face. Then the go-home show the following week, the heel champion will be defending their title against another superstar, but in the middle of it, the face will come out and try and distract the heel champion. The distraction would end up failing and the heel would retain their title. Then the week after the PLE, the heel champion would attack the face backstage as a clear response for getting involved in his or her championship match the prior week. Then the following week, the heel champion would come out for a promo, and they go absolutely in on the face, saying that he or she will never be anything in the WWE, and the face would come out to interrupt them, and the heel champion would shockingly be attacked by the face as the face finally stands up to the heel. Then in the next week, the champion comes out again for a promo, saying that before being interrupted and disrespected last week, they were actually going to do some charity work by offering a title matchup to the face, just to show everyone how pathetic that the face is. But now he or she doesn't deserve the champion's kindness, so if they want a title match, the face will have to win a #1 contenders match next week. And at the go-home show the following week, the face underdog would get an unlikely win in a triple threat match to secure the #1 contenders match. Following the match, the heel champion would come out and attack the face backstage. And at the PLE, your heel champ would take on the face underdog for the Midcard title. Our fourth storyline will start with a War Games match Survivor Series, where one team would lose in bitter defeat. And that following week, one superstar called him or her Superstar A will attack Superstar B backstage to open the show, leaving the fans not knowing why. The following week, they would get their answer though, as that Superstar A who attacked their superstar would come out for a promo, saying that Superstar B blew it at War Games, costing their team the match. But Superstar B would then come out as they are defending themselves, but Superstar A would attack them once again. The very next week, the GM would announce a match in the main event. It would be a singles match between the two superstars. The main event would come, and during this match would be a back and forth battle, with Superstar A getting frustrated that he or she could not put their opponent away. In the end, they would hit Superstar B with a chair out of frustration, causing a DQ finish. The very next week, on the Go Home show before the Royal Rumble, the GM would say that their chaos has been more than enough trouble, and that they'll be barred from attacking each other this week before the PLE, or they will lose their spot in the Royal Rumble. Leading up to the Royal Rumble, both superstars would conform to the GM's ruling, but they would attempt to distract each other in matches to try and stop each other's momentum heading into the Rumble. The Royal Rumble would come, both superstars would finally get their hands on each other in the Royal Rumble, but it seemed their focus was more important than winning the match, as they cost each other and they would both end up losing the Royal Rumble. The following week, Superstar A would come out for a promo, complaining that Superstar B wasted their opportunity to compete for a title at WrestleMania, and that they should get a title match at Elimination Chamber. Superstar B would then come out to confront them, but this time, they would be the aggressor and attack Superstar A, finally putting he or she in their place. The next week, the GM knew the chaos would continue until the rivalry was over, so a big announcement was made. The GM said that Superstar A and B would face each other at Elimination Chamber to become the number one contender for a world title at WrestleMania, and the world title would also be defended by the champion in the Elimination Chamber match. So the next week, Superstar A was not happy about the decision, so she attacked Superstar B backstage, and this led to the GM sending both superstars home and not allowing them back until the night of Elimination Chamber. And at the Elimination Chamber PLE, the two superstars would come back to face each other for the number one contendership, where they would meet in a street fight to decide who would take on the winner of the Elimination Chamber World Title match at WrestleMania. Our next storyline will go to the tag division for either the men or the women. During your first week, the tag team champions who are faces will issue an open challenge as they're looking for a new challenger for their titles. Another face tag team that's had some success but has struggled to get over the hump recently would come out to face the champs. Their tag champs would end up getting the win, but later backstage, the losing team would attack them shockingly to the fans and turning heel. The next week, the now heel tag team would come out for a promo, saying they're done being the afterthoughts of the division and wasting their time doing things the right way, while other tag teams would continue to play dirty and take away their opportunities. The tag champs would then come out to confront them, saying they didn't do anything dirty, that they were just the better men or women that night. This would lead the now heel tag team to attack the tag champs once again. And the very next week, the new heel team didn't just want to make a statement to the champs, but they wanted to make a statement to the entire tag division. So they would face off with another tag team and end up getting the win. But after the match, they would attack their opponents with steel chairs. The following week at the Go Home show, the tag team champs would come out for a promo, calling out the heel tag team, challenging them to a match at the PLE to put this to rest. The heel tag team would then come out and accept the challenge, and the two tag teams would end up brawling in the ring. And at the PLE, the heels and the faces would face off for the tag team titles. The next storyline will go back to the World Title division for either the men or the women. In your first week, two superstars are looking to become the number one contender for the World Title, and they face off in a match in the main event to decide who will be the number one contender. Superstar A will win with a roll-up pin where they illegally pull on Superstar B's tights to get the pin. The following week, Superstar B would come out for a promo where they would call out Superstar A for cheating. Superstar A would come out, but they wouldn't take too kindly to Superstar B, as he or she says it didn't matter because the ref never saw, and Superstar A would attack Superstar B. After the missed cheating by the ref and the attack by Superstar A, the GM decides to make a call that there will be a rematch to become the number one contender. And this time, Superstar B would end up getting the win in the main event. The following week, Superstar A would come out for a promo saying that it was ridiculous that he or she is no longer the number one contender because of the ref's screw-up. Superstar B would come out to respond and rub it in Superstar A's face, but Superstar A would once again quickly attack Superstar B. The following week at the Go Home show, backstage Superstar A would continue to attack Superstar B once again, and then come out for a promo, where Superstar A would then come out and explain that he or she will continue to attack Superstar B and not allow him or her to win the title at the PLE unless they get a rematch tonight, with the winner taking a 3-match series to become the #1 contender at the PLE. Superstar B would come out and have to accept the challenge, and it would be their only way to get a fair opportunity at winning the title. The new rivals put on a heated match at the end of the night. Both seem to care a little more about hurting each other than actually getting the chance to compete for the title. In the end, their hate for each other was too strong. They beat each other up so much outside that they both were unable to get back into the ring at the 10 count and were both counted out, leaving no #1 contender. At the PLE, the GM would decide that both superstars would compete with the champion in a triple threat match for the world title. Our final storyline will be over a vacant title. In the first week, the GM will announce that the world champion was injured during their title win at the last PLE, and they'll need to vacate their title as they'll be out for a long period of time. Over the coming weeks, contenders will earn the right to fight for the title at the upcoming PLE. Superstar A will come out for a promo advocating for him or herself to have a shot at the title, but he or she would be quickly interrupted by Superstar B saying that he or she is more suited to compete for the title. Later that night, Superstar C would attack Superstar A as the mix for who should compete for the title continued to grow. In the following week, Superstar C would come out and explain why they attacked Superstar A, saying it's because he or she didn't deserve the match, that he or she is not as good as them. But then Superstar D, a fourth superstar, would now come out to confront Superstar C as they think they're the top pick to compete for the title. Superstar C would then follow up with another attack, this time on Superstar D. Later that night, backstage, Superstar A would get their revenge on Superstar C, attacking them. Then the following week, all 4 superstars winning this title match would compete in a fatal 4-way in the main event, with the winner being the first person clinched to compete in the world title match. Then the following week, it would be a triple threat match in the main event, with the 3 remaining superstars who didn't win last week getting the opportunity to face off one last time, with the winner filling the remaining spot for the world title match at the PLE. And with that, the PLE, the 2 winners of the qualifying matches would go on to face each other to crown the winner of the vacated title. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out all my other Universe Mode content. Our first storyline is some chaos in the world title scene. After your face world champion successfully defends their title at the most recent PLE, they are shockingly attacked backstage by a masked figure, and it leaves the fans wondering who it was that attacked him or her. Then the following week, the GM would come out to make an announcement, and that is the champion will be out of action for the foreseeable future, and the title will now be up for grabs. The GM is interrupted, however, by a heel contender who seems just a little bit too excited about the attack, and they want their shot at the title. The GM says they'll need to compete in a tournament to crown the new champion of the vacant world title. The next week, the heel contender would come out, take on a face opponent to move to the championship round of the world title tournament, and the heel would end up getting the win in this tournament match. Then at the Go Home show the following week, before the PLE, another semi-final tournament match would take place to decide the heel contender's opponent at the PLE for the world title. At the end of the show, though, the heel contender would attack their soon-to-be opponent backstage, heading into the PLE. At the PLE, the heel contender would then take on their now hurt opponent, which gave them a big advantage and ultimately helped them win the world title at the PLE. Fast forward 2 months later now, your new heel champion has continued to hold on to their title for the past 2 months, and they decided it's a good idea to come out for a promo and talk down on the locker room. As he or she is going in on how weak they view the locker room to be, the former face champion makes a shocking return and attacks the heel champion, making it clear who their attacker was a few months ago and put them out of action. The following week, the heel champion comes out for a promo where he or she says the attack on them by the face the prior week was disgusting and they should be suspended. The face comes out to interrupt and laughs at the heel, saying that they should be the ones suspended after attacking them and putting them out of action for a few months. The face goes on to say last week was just the start of their revenge, but it won't end until they get back their world title. The heel says the face won't get a title shot after the attack last week and walks out. Then the following week, the heel champ would come out for another promo where they call out the GM, saying that they refuse to ever give a title match to the face and that they demand a suspension of the face. The GM would come out and laugh at the heel and say that not only will there not be a suspension, but a match for the world title is official for the next PLE and it will be a street fight. At the Go Home show the following week before the PLE, it seemed that the time for words was completely finished, as the heated rivalry between the face and the heel led to a backstage brawl between the two stars, heading into their world title match at the PLE. Our next storyline will be between two contenders in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week, following a loss in a world title match at the most recent PLE, a face comes out for a promo where they open up and admit they weren't the better man or woman that night, but their title chase isn't over. Out comes a heel contender who laughs at them and says of course they weren't the better man or woman at the PLE because they've fallen off and aren't championship material anymore, like the heel themselves. The face responds by saying if he or she has fallen off, then what does that make the heel contender since they haven't had a title shot in God knows how long? The heel looks angered, but the face walks out on him or her before the confrontation could get physical. The following week, the heel contender would attack the face contender backstage as a clear response to their tense interaction in last week's promo, as this brewing rivalry finally begins to get physical. Later that night though, the face contender was scheduled for a singles match as they looked to get back on track after their PLE loss, but just before the match could get going, the heel contender made their way down to ringside and would later attempt to distract the face to try and make them lose their match. The next week though, the face would come out for a promo and was clearly fired up after their last week's attack and distraction from the heel. He or she would call out the heel to a match for that night, but the heel would come out and decline as he or she tells the face that they already have a match later in the night. The face responds by saying it would be a shame if someone else got involved, like in his or her match last week, and then walked out. Later that night, just before the heel's match would get started, the face contender would make their way down to ringside, just like the heel did the prior week, but instead of trying to distract the heel during their match, the face would ultimately jump into the ring and attack the heel as they looked for much needed revenge. At the Go Home show the following week before the PLE, the main event would be a singles match between the face and the heel contenders as their short-term rivalry was set to come to an end, with the winner being put in the driver's seat for a title match at next month's PLE. Our next storyline starts as a world title feud, but then evolves into a War Games match to end it. In your first week, a heel faction leader who is currently your world champion comes out for a promo after months of successful title defenses with the help of their faction. The heel comes out to say that there is no threat left to take their title, so everyone needs to accept who runs the WWE. The heel would then be interrupted by a beloved face who hasn't been in the title picture for a while and may seem like a little bit of an underdog. The face responds by saying there's a lot more talent in the back that is tired of their numbers game and are ready to take the title off of the heel. The heel laughs and says he or she will be nice and let the face get out of their ring, even though the face showed disrespect by coming out to interrupt him or her. The face refuses and says the bully tactics won't work anymore. With that, the heel says fine, have it your way, and walks out. The following week, the show opens backstage as the heel faction attacks the face backstage. As his attack is what the champion was alluding to last week at the end of their promo by having it their way. Then the next week, the face contender comes out for a promo calling out the heel champion, saying that he or she doesn't care about the numbers game and that the adversity will prevail. The heel contender comes out laughing once again at the face, saying he or she needs to live in reality before quickly attacking him or her once again. At the Go Home show before the PLE, the GM comes out to make a couple of announcements. He or she states that the face contender suffered a minor injury, so they will not be on the show that night. However, they will be ready to go Saturday to take on the heel champion for the world title. The heel champion comes out to interrupt the GM as he or she's angry about the last second title match announcement. The GM tells the champ that the match is final, and if they refuse to compete, then they will be stripped of their title. At the PLE, the heel champion would take on the face underdog contender. Ultimately, the face doesn't seem 100%, and the numbers game from the heel faction would be too strong as the heel champion to retain their title. Following the PLE, the heel champion would come out for a promo to once again rub it into the locker room about how no one is able to beat them for their world title. The face contender would come out to interrupt them, saying everyone knows there are plenty of superstars good enough to defeat the heel, but they would never admit it and would rather hide behind their faction. The heel didn't like this and would attack the face contender once again. Then the next week, it was clear the locker room was tired of the heel champion and his or her faction, as two other past opponents of the heel champion would attack two members of the heel faction backstage. The next week, the heel champion would come out angry after the attack, calling out the faces. The face contender would come out, but instead of responding, he or she would attack the heel champion to get even. At the go-home show before Survivor Series, the face contender would come out for a promo saying the numbers game is over and the heel faction's time is up, before going on to challenge the heel faction to War Games against him and herself along with 3 other past world title contenders. The heel champion would then come out and accept, and they would finish the night brawling in the ring, heading into the War Games match at Survivor Series. Our next storyline will be some chaos in the mid-card division. Following a PLE, a match is set to take place to decide the #1 contender for a mid-card title. At the end of the match, the heel mid-card champion would come out with their title and meet their new #1 contender in the ring for a stare-down, as the tension between the two is immediately high. The next week, the #1 contender is attacked backstage by the superstar that they had beaten the prior week to become the #1 contender, as last week's loser is still clearly upset about their loss. Later that night, a rematch is set between the two contenders, but as the #1 contender for the mid-card title is making their entrance, he or she is attacked by the mid-card champion. Even though the #1 contender is not 100% after the attack, he or she would still go on to win the rematch and getting revenge on their opponent for his or her backstage attack earlier that night. Then the following week, the GM decided to put the mid-card champion in a non-championship match as a punishment for their entrance attack on the #1 contender during the prior week. During the match, the #1 contender would come out and attempt to distract the mid-card champion by stealing their title from ringside and attempting to run off with it, which forced the champion to take their eyes off of their opponent. Then the following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel mid-card champion would come out for a promo and say the #1 contender should be punished for interfering in his or her match last week, and ultimately they should lose their title match because of it. The #1 contender would come out and laugh at the champion, saying that he or she shouldn't have started the problem if they didn't want a response. The heel champion would then attack the #1 contender as they would end up brawling heading into their mid-card title match at the upcoming PLE. Our next storyline revolves around a heel faction having the numbers game. A face and a heel that is part of a faction are set for a match on your weekly show, but during the match, the referee would take a bump, which then allowed a heel faction member to toss a chair into the ring for the heel to steal the win with the chair shot. Then the following week, the face would come out for a promo, calling out the heel and his or her faction for their chair shot the prior week. The heel comes out and tells the face that he or she would have won the match if they were as smart as him or her. The face laughs at them and says they aren't smarter, but if they want to put it to the test, then the faction member that threw the chair into the ring last week can face them tonight. So later that night, the face took on the heel faction member, but during the match, the heel faction member tried to leave when the match wasn't really going in their favor. But out of nowhere came an ally of the face to stop the heel faction member from leaving and helping the face get the win. The next week, the heel faction member would attack the face and his or her ally backstage to get revenge for being outsmarted last week during their match. This would set up a tag match between the heel faction and the face and his or her ally, with the winning side getting some more momentum in their rivalry. Then the next week at the go-home show before the PLE, the face and the heel would meet once again to put an end to their rivalry, as the faction was in the heel's corner and the ally was in the face's corner for their final match. Our first storyline is in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week, your former heel world champion comes out for a promo following their loss at a recent PLE, and they call out the new face champion looking for a rematch. The new face champion comes out and says that they don't deserve a rematch for all the cheap antics they used during their title reign, but the champion would have considered giving them the former heel champion a rematch just to prove a point, but the GM already booked a #1 contenders match for next week, and it wouldn't involve the former heel champion. The heel would grow angry and head backstage looking for the GM. Then the following week, the former heel champion would come out for a promo once again, this time calling out the GM after not being able to find them backstage last week. The GM comes out and says that the heel had their chance with the title, but now it's time for him to go to the back of the line, and so new contenders can have their rightful opportunity. The heel will respond by saying that if this is how it's gonna be, then he or she will go and get their opportunity themselves, leaving the GM and the fans not knowing what the heel exactly means with that statement. Later that night, the #1 contenders match would take place in the main event, but once the match ended, the former heel champion would enter the ring and attack both superstars from the #1 contenders match. The following week, the #1 contender for the world title would call out the heel in a promo, which would lead to the former heel champion to come out to respond. But before saying anything, he or she would attack the new #1 contender once again. The former heel champion would not be done with their aggression for that night, as he or she would then go on to attack the new face champion backstage making it clear that they are coming for whoever is in the world title picture. Next week, the go-home show before the PLE, the show would open with the former heel champion once again attacking the number one contender for coming out for a promo, where he or she would say that the attacks will not stop until they're given a world title match. The number one contender would not stay down though after the attack and would come out to respond to the heel, saying that if the only way to get rid of the heel for good was to allow them in the world title match and make it a triple threat, then they would agree, but if the heel loses, then he or she must leave the brand. The heel is angered by the stipulation, but would agree before attacking the number one contender one final time, heading into the PLE World Title Triple Threat match. Our second storyline will also take place in the world title scene for the men or the women. In the first week at the latest PLE, your face world champion would retain their world title, but would quickly be targeted by a heel faction leader as he or she would come out for a promo stating that they wanted the next shot at the world title. The world champion would not come out to respond, but rather a face challenger would, and they would challenge the heel to a match next week to become the number one contender. The heel would agree, and the match would become official. The following week in the main event, the heel faction leader would take on the face challenger to become the new number one contender, but during the match, a member of the heel's faction would try to distract the face at ringside, but it did not go to plan as the face challenger would be able to take out both the heel faction members. But even with this momentum during the match, the face wouldn't be able to get the win as the heel faction leader would steal the win with a roll-up to become the new number one contender. Next week, the heel faction leader would come out for a promo, calling out the champion now that they are the number one contender. The world champion would come out to respond, and he or she would call out the heel for trying to use the numbers game last week before mocking them for its failure. This would lead the heel number one contender to attack the world champion in the ring. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the world champion would come out for a promo and call out the heel for their attack last week, but the heel would not come out, but rather instead the face loser of the number one contenders match, and he or she would tell the world champion that he or she would have their back during their world title match at the PLE. Later that night in the main event, the face world champion and the face contender would take on the heel faction leader and one of their faction members in a tag team match where the winning side would gain some momentum heading into the world title match. Our third storyline has some chaos for a mid-card title for the men or the women. Your face mid-card champion was able to successfully defend their title at the recent PLE, but has now been called out at the start of the night for a match against a new challenger. After coming out to the ring for the match, the mid-card champion wasn't met with their new challenger though, but their previous heel challenger, who had taken the new challenger out and was now heading for the ring to go at your face mid-card champion, as the original match gets called off by the referee during all of the chaos. The following week, the former heel challenger comes out for a promo saying the face mid-card champion got lucky at the PLE, and they are disgusted that a new challenger thinks he or she can just toss them to the side and immediately swoop in to go after the title as if they're better than him or her. The face mid-card champion comes out and interrupts their former challenger, saying they had their opportunity and don't deserve another one, so they had no business getting involved. The former heel contender is angered by this and attacks the mid-card champion. The next week, the new potential mid-card title challenger comes out for a promo and calls out the former heel challenger, saying he or she doesn't deserve a shot at the title, but they will challenge him in a number one contenders match if it means they can get their revenge on the former heel challenger. The heel comes out and accepts the offer, setting up a match for next week. Then at your go-home show before the PLE, the heel and the potential new challenger will face off in a number one contenders match to take on the mid-card champion at the upcoming PLE for the mid-card title. Our next storyline involves former allies. A heel and a face who are former allies are looking to contend for a title, but they end up being put in a match against each other. As a sign of respect for their former ally, one looks to shake the hand of the other, but it ends up being a trick as they end up sucker punching him or her, creating a heated match between the former allies. In the end, the heel would get the win with the help of their cowardly tactics and punch at the start of the match. The following week, the face would call out the heel in a promo for their pre-match attack the prior week. The heel comes out and says that it's just what they need to do to be able to get the win and get the job done to get closer to the title. The face challenges the heel to a rematch, but the heel tries to say no, but the face laughs and says that he or she thought they would say so he or she went ahead and got the rematch scheduled with the GM beforehand. So later that night, the two would face off once again, but this time it would be the face that would pick up the win to even the series 1-1. The following week, the heel would attack the face backstage, clearly angry about being put in a rematch and coming away with the loss from their former ally. Later that night though, the heel would come out for a promo and call out the GM for screwing them over and putting them in a match with no preparation. The GM would come out to respond by saying he or she understands their frustration, so he or she will do them a favor and let them know right now that next week the face and the heel will face each other in a winner-takes-all street fight. The heel is angered about being put in another match against the former ally, but it doesn't matter, as at the go-home show before the PLE, the face and the heel would face off, with the winner being pushed up the title rankings if they win the street fight. Our fifth storyline has some tag team title chaos. In the first week, a face tag team has recently won the tag team titles and decides to come out for a promo where they declare they want to be fighting champions and look to challenge any team that wants to come for their titles at the upcoming PLE. Later that night, Tag Challengers A would come out for a promo advocating for themselves to get a shot at the title, but they would be quickly interrupted by Tag Challengers B saying that they are more suited to compete for the titles. At the end of the night, Tag Challengers C would attack Tag Challengers B backstage, as they already have had some issues with them in the past, but now the tag title shot up for grabs, Tag Challengers C are making it clear they want to enter the mix. The following week, Tag Challenger C would come out and explain that they attacked Tag Challengers B because they are beneath them and don't deserve the opportunity before them. The face tag team champions would come out to confront Tag Challenger C, as they say Tag Challenger C won't be sniffing a chance at their titles if they keep it up with all of these attacks. But Tag Challenger C would then attack the tag team champions, clearly showing they don't care or respect whatever they say. Then the next week, Tag Challengers B would get revenge on Tag Challenger C by attacking them backstage. Later in the night, a 4v4 tag match was set up, as the tag team champions and Tag Challengers B would take on Tag Challengers A and Tag Challengers C. Next week at the Go Home show though, Tag Challengers C would this time attack Tag Challengers A, as they were bothered by how they believed Tag Challengers A were trying to steal their spotlight in last week's match. Later that night, the GM would come out for a promo where he or she would say that after all of this chaos this past month, the only decision that makes sense is for the tag titles to be put on the line in a 4-way TLC match at the upcoming PLE. Our first storyline has some world title chaos. Your face world champion will successfully retain their world title at the latest PLE, but the following week the show opens with a heel contender attacking him or her after losing the world title match the prior week, as they're clearly not done chasing the title. The following week the heel contender would come out for a promo saying that the loss of the PLE is meaningless, and that his or her problem with your face champion is about their disillusioned view of the WWE universe and how they're pandering to the management to hold their place within the company. The face champion would then come out to respond, calling out the heel and saying that they're a coward and saying that their views are misguided. But if they want a second chance to be pinned, then they can go ahead and throw down right now. With that, a ref would come out and they would have a rematch right there on the spot, but it would quickly turn to a quick finish as the heel contender would attack the face world champion with a chair, causing a DQ. The next week, once again, the heel contender would come out for a promo, but this time he or she would say that they're not going to waste any more time with the face world champion unless this time they were given another shot at stripping them of what continues to push their disillusioned views, which is the world title. The face world champion would then come out to respond, but before getting a chance to say much, he or she would be attacked once again by your heel contender. The following week at the Go Home show before the PLE, the face world champion would come out for a promo and say the heel is a coward and only takes their cheap shots because they know they can't beat him or her fair one-on-one. The champ would go on to say that the attacks are going to end now, and at the upcoming PLE they would meet one last time, not only for the world title, but to put down the heel contender for good in an ambulance match. And that is how your rematch would occur for the world title. Our next storyline is another world title, but this time it is a triple threat rivalry. If you get a chance, like and subscribe. Now let's hop into this second storyline. After retaining their world title at the recent PLE, your heel world champion comes out for a promo, but is quickly interrupted by a potentially new challenger, as a face calls out the heel for playing dirty to retain their world title last week and challenges them to a title match. The heel champ laughs at the challenge and walks out on the face contender. This face contender would then go backstage frustrated, but would quickly be attacked out of nowhere by a heel title contender, leaving the fans wondering why this attack occurred. And the following week, the heel title contender would come out for a promo the following week, where he or she would call out the face contender for trying to be some righteous hero to try and jump the line for the world title. But the face contender would come out to confront the heel contender, but would once again be attacked by the heel. Later that night, the heel contender was making their way backstage for an interview, but they would be attacked by the face contender as they were finally able to stick up for themselves after these past 2 attacks. Then the next week, as the number 1 contenders match would be set up for the face and the heel contenders to finally put an end to their chaos and crown a rightful opponent for the world title, but the match would shockingly end in a disqualification as the heel world champion would attack the face contender in the ring. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel world champion would come down to the ring for a promo where he or she would say that after being disrespectful and interrupting him or her a few weeks ago, the face contender didn't deserve a match with them, which is why they were attacked by him or her the prior week. The GM would come out and refuse to take that explanation as a valid reasoning for ruining the number 1 contenders match, so he or she would be making their world title match at the PLE a triple threat match with the heel and face contenders. Our third storyline involves an NXT Call Up. In the first week, a heel contender for a mid-card title would come out for a promo, stating it's been a long time and honestly long enough since they've had a chance to win some gold, and they want the mid-card champion tonight, so he or she can take away their title. But out would come the GM though, saying that the heel is definitely someone who should have an opportunity at the title, but there still are other options, so next week, the heel contender will take on a surprise opponent to become the new mid-card number 1 contender. The following week, the heel mid-card contender would come out for their match and will be met by a surprise opponent who ends up being a hyped-up NXT talent that is making a huge main roster debut with a potential mid-card title push. The now former NXT talent would end up getting the huge win over the heel mid-card contender to become the new number 1 contender. Then the next week, the heel contender would come out and attack the mid-card number 1 contender backstage as they clearly couldn't handle being passed up by a new NXT talent. The following week at the go-home show before the PLE, the heel contender would come out for a promo and state that some new hotshot wasn't going to take their place, and last week was only the start of their plans to stop the former NXT talent from winning the mid-card title. The former NXT talent and now new mid-card number 1 contender would come out to respond by challenging the heel to a rematch, but with a stipulation. If the heel wins, they would replace them as the new number 1 contender for the mid-card title at the PLE. But if the heel loses the rematch, then they are barred from ringside at the PLE, stopping any interference. The heel was bothered by being given this stipulation, but they would agree to the rematch for that night to decide the number 1 contender for the mid-card title at the upcoming PLE. Our fourth storyline will involve a world title heel turn. At the first week at your recent PLE, your face world champion was able to retain their title, and they would come out the following week for a promo where they seemed maybe getting a little bit too cocky. Out would come a face contender / challenger who's a little bit of an underdog, but they're looking to finally get an opportunity at the world title. Your cocky face champion tries to be nice, but says that if he or she wants a shot at their world title, then they would have to earn it. So the following week, your underdog face challenger would take on a heel contender in a number 1 contenders match where the face underdog would end up getting the win to get a title shot. Then at next week's show, the face underdog contender would come out for a promo, thanking the crowd for getting behind them and helping them will their way to the title shot for the world title. The little bit of a cocky face champion would come out to respond, and even though once again he or she was trying to be nice to their new number 1 contender, they would tell that contender that the fans won't have his or her back in the match, but instead they will be with their world champion. This leads to mixed reactions from the crowd, as that you can really sense they have a growing arrogance behind the world champion. Then the following week at the go-home show before your PLE, both superstars would come out for a contract signing where once again it felt like the face world champion was a little condescending to their challenger, but what felt like for the first time in forever, this contract signing didn't end in a brawl. Then at your PLE, the face world champion would take on their face challenger, and in surprising fashion, the face challenger would get the upset win to become the new world champion. The following week though, after the PLE, in surprising fashion, the show opens with the former face champion attacking the new face champion backstage as their recent character change seems to have turned into a full heel turn. Then the following week, your former world champion calls out the new champion saying he or she isn't worthy of the title, they got lucky, and will get stomped out if they have a rematch. The new world champion then would come out saying, after the attack last week, why would he or she give out a rematch? Instead, the new champion dishes it right back and says that just like him or her said before, the former world champion would have to earn a shot at the title. The former champion grew mad at this response, which is hypocritical considering how their feud started, but he or she doesn't care and would attack the new champion once again. The next week, the former world champion would take on another world title contender to become the new #1 contender, and the former world champion would end up getting the win to set up a rematch at the upcoming PLE. Following, we get the go-home show before the PLE. Another contract signing was set up between the two superstars, but this time it would end in chaos as the former world champion would take the first swing at the new world champion. But this time, your face new world champion was able to fight back as they would both brawl, heading into their world title rematch at the upcoming PLE. Our first storyline begins at a PLE where a face finally captures a world title after a long chase, and the fans are ecstatic to find out who his or her first feud will be against, and they would soon find out. As the week after the PLE, the new world title holder, the new face champion, was preparing to come out for a promo, but two members of a heel faction would attack him or her backstage before they can come out to the ring. The following week, the main single stars of this heel faction would come out for a promo, calling out the champion and saying that their reign will only be defined as a transitional championship to hand over the title to him or her. The face would then come out to confront the new heel challenger, but the heel quickly attacks your new champion. Then the week after, the new face champion takes on one of the heel faction members, and even though there were lots of ringside distractions, the face champion would still walk away with the win. Now, a week out from our PLE, the heel faction once again attacks the face champion backstage, this time in response to the champion's win in the prior week. Thinking they got the last blow, the heel faction let their guard down the rest of the night. This allowed the show to end with the face champion getting their chance to attack the heel star all alone backstage ahead of their world title fight. And at the upcoming PLE, the face champion and the heel contender meet for the world title match. Our next storyline takes place in the world title scene for the men or the women's divisions. A huge trade between Raw and SmackDown occurs, and it shakes up the main event scene, either the men's or the women's world title division. The newly acquired star comes out for the first match, and they get the win on their new brand in the main event. But after the match, the world champion comes out and confronts him or her, making sure they understand who runs the brand. Then the following week, the newly acquired star comes out for their first promo on their new brand, and they call out the champion, saying he or she seems a bit insecure about their presence. The champion would then come out, and he or she doesn't really say too much before going out and attacking this new star and leading to a brawl. Heading over to the following week, the champion and the new star meet in the main event for a huge singles match. Deep into the match, it's a back and forth battle, but eventually the new star seems to be getting the upper hand, so the champion makes the cowardly decision to attack the new star with a chair shot, causing a DQ finish. A week out from our PLE now, the new star, clearly angry about last week's finish, calls out the champion in a promo. The champion would come out and said the new star didn't deserve the opportunity to be in a match with him or her. The new star doesn't respond with words this time, as he or she decides to get even by attacking the champion right before their PLE. For this PLE, the world title match would ensue between the champion and the newly acquired star. Our next feud will be a mid-card title rivalry. A superstar from another company or call up from NXT will make an unannounced WWE main roster debut as they come out for a promo. They're interrupted though by a heel mid-card champion who will interrupt them, and they tell this new superstar that they're all hype and don't deserve to be in the same ring as them. The following week, this new superstar gets a win versus a low-level mid-card opponent. Then in the following week, the new superstar will come out for a promo calling out the heel champion after their win the prior week. The heel champion once again come out to confront them, and they tell the new superstar that beating a low-level competitor didn't earn them any respect, and that he or she must win against a much better opponent. Then later that night, the new superstar beats a top mid-card title contender. Then on the following week, before the PLE, the heel champion comes out, cuts a promo saying that the new superstar is just a flash in the pan, and that 2 quick wins on the main roster mean nothing, and that he or she doesn't deserve a title shot. The GM has other plans, as the #1 Contenders match will be scheduled as a gauntlet match for that night containing the new superstar along with some other mid-card contenders. and that new superstar would go on to win the match to take on the heel champion, the PLE. But before we get to the PLE, the heel champion would later that night attack your new superstar backstage, heading into their PLE match, where the heel champion takes on her new superstar for the Midcard title. The next storyline will start at Survivor Series and then end at WrestleMania in a world title match. At Survivor Series, Superstar A, who is your world champion, will end up losing their title to Superstar B in their championship match. The following week, Superstar B will come out for a promo to celebrate their big title win at Survivor Series. Superstar A will then come out to interrupt them as they want a rematch after their world title loss. But your new champion will end up saying no and leaving the ring. The following week, Superstar A will once again come out for a promo, wanting a rematch with Superstar B, and they will challenge he or she to a rematch at the Royal Rumble. Superstar B comes out and then once again tells them no, saying that they will have to go to the back of the line. And then the next week, Superstar A will come out for a promo where they declare for the Royal Rumble to try and gain their title rematch. And the week before the Royal Rumble, Superstar B, your new champion, will be backstage and attack Superstar A, trying to hinder their chances at winning the Rumble. Then, a week later at the Royal Rumble, Superstar A will fail to win and not get the rematch with Superstar B. Following week, Superstar B, your new champion, will come out to cut a promo mocking Superstar A for their failure once again. And this time, Superstar A comes out, and instead of sharing some words, they end up brawling. Then that following week, Superstar B will come out for a promo, but is quickly interrupted by the Royal Rumble winner, who he or she comes out and says that they're coming for Superstar B's title. The following week, Superstar A will come out and compete in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which they would end up winning. And then at the Elimination Chamber, Superstar A will once again win, this time earning a world title shot, but the question is, who will it be against? That following week, Superstar A comes out for a promo, and they say they are coming for Superstar B's title. With WrestleMania plans now put into question, Superstar B comes out for a promo, and they say he or she is already facing the winner of the Royal Rumble, so they will not be facing Superstar A. Superstar A would then come out to confront Superstar B, and he or she says she's already talked to the GM, and it will now be a triple threat match for the title at WrestleMania. The following week, Superstar A comes out for a promo, and this time he or she is interrupted by the Royal Rumble winner and not Superstar B, as the Royal Rumble winner tells them to go after the other champion and to stay out of their business. But Superstar A says no and walks out. But quickly after walking out, Superstar B comes out and attacks Superstar A backstage later that night. And the week before WrestleMania, all three superstars get in a confrontation backstage, and it leads to them brawling. And with that, they head into their triple threat match for the world title. For our next rivalry, it will be a non-championship feud that begins at Money in the Bank and it ends all the way at WrestleMania. At Money in the Bank, two superstars competing in the Money in the Bank match. One is a face, one is a heel. During the Money in the Bank match, they both get in each other's way, and it causes neither of them to end up winning. But nobody thinks much of their interactions during the match, thinking it's just going to end there. 2 weeks later on Raw, though, they are scheduled to face each other in a King or Queen of the Ring match. Ultimately, the face beats the heel in this match, and will then continue their winning streak to go on to the finals at the King and the Ring PLE. At the King and Queen of the Ring PLE, the heel would come out during the PLE to distract the face and end up costing them the King or Queen of the Ring title match. Next week on Raw, they would both come out for a promo where they agreed to a match at SummerSlam before brawling in the ring. In the weeks before SummerSlam, we see consistent distraction and brawls between the two superstars, and then at SummerSlam, the heel this time would get the win, but they aren't satisfied after only evening the score at 1 win apiece, and they decide to injure the face after the match. For the next 3 months, the heel should now be involved in 1 or 2 small stories where they end up getting wins to boost their stock. And as we fast forward to a month before Survivor Series, we begin to have the buildup of War Games. The heel ends up deciding to join one side of the War Games team. But out of nowhere, the return of the face from injury, he or she ends up joining the opposing side. The following week on Raw, the heel would now attack the returning from injury face backstage. The week after that, bad blood continues between the two, as the backstage brawl once again happens, but this time it's the face and one of their new War Games teammates against the heel and one of their War Games teammates. And this heated rivalry would go into the Survivor Series War Games, and the War Games match would occur It doesn't matter which side wins because the rivalry does not end here. It would continue into both the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber, as they would both get in each other's way and both cost each other the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber, as neither would now get a world title match at WrestleMania. After the 2 singles matches, many meetings and gimmick matches, and the injury angle in between, they finally decide in a promo the week after Elimination Chamber that they will end their rivalry with a big payoff street fight at WrestleMania. And in this build to WrestleMania, they take part in promos that end in brawls, matches where they attempt to distract each other and kill their momentum, and then the typical antics of attacking each other backstage. And then at WrestleMania, you get your big street fight payoff. And those are the storylines I got for you guys today. Remember to make sure to like and subscribe and check out my other Universe Mode content.